Junaid, neurocritical care stroke and epilepsy specialist. And I'm part of the APPNA Merit Committee, and I'm very, very grateful to welcome Dr. Faisal Khan, who's actually the principal investigator for Precision Medicine Lab in Pakistan, which is originally a bigger part and affiliate of National Center for Big Data and Cloud Computing. His claim to fame is not that he himself is a fantastic innovator, but I would call him an innovator enabler, because he has run some couple of hackathons in which we have seen a few digital health startups came about. He himself has studied at University of Oxford and has training in cancer biology and therapeutics from Harvard Medical School as well. I'm going to let him introduce himself in more detail, but we are extremely proud of this Pakistani talent in terms of not just talent, raw talent, but also enabling other talent in our country. So very grateful, Dr. Khan, that you're here. Assalamu alaikum, and you can begin, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam. It's a total pleasure to be here again. Big fan of APPNA and all the activities you guys are doing. And I can't be more happier than sharing what we're up to, especially on the innovation side this time around. So should I just jump straight into the talk and maybe you could then have a conversation?
Correct. That would be perfect. First, like more of an introduction and your part, what your projects has been, and then I think it would be best that we would have some time at the end for a conversation style information.
Great. So, so quickly, as you mentioned, I returned to Pakistan after my DPhil at Oxford. I did a master's there and a doctorate. My thesis was primarily focused on mitosis in Drosophila, but my tools were interesting because we were using machine learning before it was cool, and all the statistical sort of models led us to wet lab validation. So I did a lot of RNAi back then, a lot of confocal microscopy, and then I ended up in Peshawar. So it's been about 9 years now on the ground doing different things, primarily revolving around biology, whether it's teaching, outreach, research, and we're really proud that we have 9 pieces of work accepted at AACR this year, the American Association of Cancer Research. So I'm extremely proud of the team and the level of work they're up to. And we'll actually be throwing a party next week. So, so exciting times here. On the innovation side, we realized Peshawar enjoys an undiscovered level of density, and I'll stress on the word density, and I'll explain it in my slides. And we thought why nothing's happening, and B, how could we leverage it? So so PML Hacks and Peshawar 2.0, just to the sort of projects or 2 different sort of efforts that have taken place in Peshawar, and how we've arrived at where we are. So I'll quickly go through the slides, probably take about less than 40 minutes, around 30. And then I'd love to have a conversation and see what feedback I get and where we take it from there. So quickly, Peshawar is the capital of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, the province which has become the 2nd largest province. I say has become because the erstwhile tribal areas, now called merged districts, have merged into the province and giving us a bigger sort of population, a bigger sort of area, and lots of new opportunities, along with lots of problems, of course, stresses out the entire infrastructure that we have. But I'll always kind of look at the opportunities there. Peshawar, some historians argue it's some say one of the oldest living cities in Asia. And I recently just read up on my history and I realized we were way older than Lahore and all the popular cities that we see. So it's been historically been at the crossroads of trade and commerce between Central and South Asia. And I literally see that every day on the roads, in the bazaars, and in our laboratories. When I look at Afghanis working with Urdu-speaking muhajirs, there's a lot of talent coming in the modern day now. And I feel it's still enjoying the crossroads sort of location, and we're hoping we leverage that somehow. So yeah, this is one of my favorite pictures of Takhbai, the sort of the icon of the Gandhara civilization. A lot needs to be excavated, but this is one of the UNESCO sites that we have. Kind of points out how old the whole place is around here. So I have I've divided this presentation into five points. My first one is Peshawar is dense, and I say dense in terms of talent. The map on the side represents KP, and all the outlines are districts in KP. The green dots are publicly funded universities. The red ones, which mostly revolve around Peshawar, are private sector universities. So it's pretty much the hub of education and research in not just the province, but the region, since we've had a huge Afghani refugee population, and a lot of alumni from Peshawar are now serving at different levels, have been and still are serving in different levels in Afghanistan. Really proud some of my students have been involved in the COVID response, expanding the PCR testing networks across Afghanistan. So there's a close sort of relationship and attachment between the two communities at the university level. So in Peshawar, we have a huge number of universities, all of it crammed into a 2-mile radius. And according to some estimates, we have about 200,000 university students who flock into the city every day. A quarter or so are boarding students who live in the city, coming from different areas. And the question now is, how can we leverage this density, and how do we rewire it so innovation kind of happens at a faster pace? And mind you, it's a very young population. KP is the youngest province in the country, and that kind of adds more fuel to the fire here. Peshawar 2.0 was a volunteer movement of sorts, started in 2012 when we returned from, I say we, 4 co-founders who kind of instigated and started this movement, and sort of promoting technology and innovation and startups across campuses when the city was beginning to wake up from the tougher days back from the 2000 days sort of. So we undertook a lot of different activities in several directions. One of the key outcomes was Base Camp, which was our first ever co-working space, which was a buzzing spot for all young people in the city. It also became the landing pad for all sorts of bigger startups and companies in the country to start off from. So it kind of was literally the go-to place for everyone creative. And over a period of about 7 years, right till COVID, we had more than 200 community events happening there, on and off, kind of stirring the soup of talent that we had. And Basecamp was luckily very strategically based in the middle of that 2-mile radius that I just mentioned. We also had Revolt. Revolt was an incubator where we kind of cherry-picked the best bets from within the ecosystem, folks from fashion to e-commerce to health and so on. So we had about 40 startups. We're really proud. Some of them are still alive, and a bunch of them are doing really well. And we also cooked up the Digital Youth Summit back in 2014 in a bid to kind of attract what we call tech tourism into Peshawar. And that's exactly, luckily, that's exactly what happened. The government took ownership, the World Bank came in, it's a regular annual feature in the city now, even though we're no longer involved and we've kind of handed it over to the government. But that really kind of attracts young people from across the province and the country, and B, a lot of sort of, senior mentor level people or experts and professionals who offer sort of talks, advice, and investment. So a lot of investors kind of attend the event as well. And through wearing that Peshawar 2.0 hat, we've been very closely involved with the KP government. So we kind of, the sitting government now was there in KP in the last term as well. So we kind of enjoyed a fresh young party coming into power, keen on new ideas, and lo and behold, Peshawar 2.0 was there, and we worked really close with the government, seeding all sorts of ideas. One of them is early age programming. So KP's primary schools across KPs have IT laboratories, and they're underutilized. So what we pitched was, why not teach our young ones coding where possible, and allow those laboratories to be open in the evenings. And that's one of the successful pilots that they had. And I think it's crossed about 10,000 students now learning coding across the province. So ideas like those were seeded into the government, and some of them kind of flew off and are now being scaled. And we're extremely proud of that. So in a nutshell, Peshawar 2.0 ended up as a nonprofit, but it began as a very loose volunteer movement with a huge gang of volunteers, starting from the founders to every single volunteer we had at the Digital Youth Summit. And it really was a team effort and a mission-driven effort of sorts, because everyone was there for the love of Peshawar, for the love of technology. And we still kind of enjoy that momentum, and we hope it goes to new levels. So Peshawar 2.0, before I explain PML hacks, Peshawar 2.0 has been there, and it has been kind of building that narrative around innovation and startups. And it has been poking all these policy and makers and decision makers at the top, whether they're in the government or at the top at the helm in universities, or the Higher Education Commission for that matter. So we had that momentum which we could leverage at PML hacks. Number 3, Peshawar's dense also in terms of patients. So Peshawar is host to arguably the densest healthcare cluster in the country. And we've put together a team now to kind of measure this and bring some empirical data around this. But we really believe it is one of the densest healthcare clusters, if not the. Located in phase 5 of Hayatabad, it's in up and happening sort of township, sort of the coolest places to live in, has certain commercial areas, just like we see in Islamabad. And phase 5's commercial area is really dense when it comes to healthcare. And phase 5 is also very close to the Afghan border. So it's on the eastern side of Peshawar, and it attracts huge sort of patient base from Afghanistan, sometimes even Central Asia, across Afghanistan. And it's been sort of, it's been oscillating. The numbers go up sometimes, obviously depending on a lot of the geopolitical situations, but it's there. So phase 5 offers substantial chunk of tertiary care to the Afghani population. Phase 5 is also flanked with phase 4's medical cluster, Hayatabad Medical Complex, and it has, on the eastern side, it has the industrial estate, which has lots of pharmaceutical companies. So altogether, if we look at a Google map, you could literally see the 1 square kilometer square in the middle, phase 5. On the left, you see Hayatabad, a chunk of Hayatabad industrial estate, which is huge, but it has all the pharmaceutical factories, units. Opposite, across the road, where we have the BRT now these days, is the Hyderabad Medical Complex, which is the second largest public sector hospital. Again, it sees a huge traffic of patients from across the region. And it has a lot of interesting other affiliate organizations, such as the Institute of Kidney Diseases, the Postgraduate Medical Institute, and so on. A burn center there. So it is kind of really happening face to face here in phase 5 and phase 4. These are some statistics, three state-of-the-art private hospitals and research institutes. RMI, Rahman Medical Institute, being one of the forefathers, because it was first to set camp here in Hyderabad when nothing existed. Northwest came into being about 10 years ago, and Shaukat Khanum's Peshawar Hospital is also here in phase 5. And opposite to that, as I said, we have Hyderabad Medical Complex, and in the middle of Hyderabad phase 5, we also have the Peshawar Institute of Cardiology, the recently inaugurated one. It's really busy as well. And then about 60 smaller clinics and polyclinics scattered around. And the current count that we have is the 1 square kilometer has about 400 PhDs, some of them being PIs, research leads, about 550 consultants, and more than 4,000 beds put together. And we also see top-tier campuses of other universities, the Engineering University, the Khyber Medical College, the top business school is right across the sector, and some other engineering universities as well. So it is kind of really happening, and we enjoy sitting right in the middle of it. This is an older drone shot that we had, about 5-6 years old now. The road you see on the right goes straight towards the Turkham border and Afghanistan. But this one's a neater, newer shot that I could share, and it gives a really nice sort of image, and it's really pleasant when you arrive here with your coffee in the morning. The white sort of buildings you see in the middle are mostly Rahman Medical Institute. Northwest is here at the back. This is a new children's hospital which is soon going to be commissioned. It's built by the government. The solar panels on the roof there you see belong to the Shaukat Khanum Cancer Hospital. There's an eye care hospital by the government at the back. And this is just the northeastern end of the square kilometer that I shared, just to give you a taste of where we sit. And the lab we have, the precision medicine lab is right here on the second floor in the laboratory building at RMI. So I'm just kind of trying to set the context of why we've been successful and how others could kind of pick up on their cities and their sort of neighborhoods. These are just some numbers. I call them little communities that we've seeded, communities coming out of conferences, communities coming out of taught courses. Sprints are a series of workshops that we have. iGEM is the International Genetically Engineered Machines competition that happens in Boston. These are some stellar undergrads that come out of it, and they're doing wonders across the country now. And I look at them as communities hatching out of phase 5 and the effort the team has been putting in here. And all in all, within molecular biology / biotechnology, we have about 4,000 graduates in the province, just to kind of define the scope of the problem that we have. Opportunity is what I mean. And we have about 200 PIs in the province, only in molecular biology. And that's what we're trying to mobilize here and build on. Number 4, I'll quickly pace through towards 5 because that's where PML Hacks is. Peshawar was also lucky to have a BioE community. BioE is a bio-entrepreneurship course that I cooked up, inspired by my time that I spent at the Side Business School at Oxford. And I'd really kind of give Mark Ventresca a special mention here, who was our professor of strategy and innovation back then, and the SEEP program, the Science Innovation Plus program. And the program used to give a deep dive to STEM PhD students in their final year, and they would fund them to stick around and stay at the business school for a year. And the immediate sort of benefit I could draw from it was cooking up this really what ended up being a really interesting course for students in the biological sciences. So it's a 30-70 split. I call them 30% theory, 70% experiential. 30% are more about case studies and understanding the process of innovation and how they could contribute to our economy. And we use some HBS case studies that I borrow from Mark Ventresca's course. And on the flip side, on the practical or more experiential side, I borrow the Alexander Osterwalder's business model canvas. And we hash out different pieces, and the green boxes you see are weeks in their 7th semester. So every week they pick on a piece, go back to their idea and build that. And the key here was, the challenge here was, for those familiar with the Pakistani system, was how to kind of get this endorsed, especially by all the bodies that we have, including the HEC, the local board of studies, etc. And the challenge was, how do you assess this? So I'll keep that story for another time, and I'm happy to answer questions on that. But all in all, this was super exciting because it was not just an upgrade for the business course that they were offered, but it also enabled them, through the 70% experiential part, was also able to build the soft skills of the students. So these are some memorable pictures that I still sort of keep on my hard drive from the D-Day, from the demo day that we used to have. And by the way, I kind of merged the Viva component of their practical exam with the demo day. So you see some judges up here at the front. They were scoring them for their assessment needs, just to fulfill those sort of demands in terms of the course. But you see a full-blown demo day where startups kind of battle with their ideas. And we also bring in existing founders and experts who are able to ask them questions and grill them on that. So the two initial versions that I myself taught back in 2014 and 15 unleashed about roughly about 150 students into the community. And I'm really proud of Bakhtawar here, because she went on as a lecturer and took the course into Iqra University, where till the last time I checked, I think just before COVID, she has been teaching it for a few years. So some alumni, and I'm really proud of them, took the course into other campuses and have been teaching it, which is super exciting. The biggest takeaways are from the students themselves. So I usually, I'm very keen on feedback at all levels. And this is some raw feedback from them straight here. Some saying they got a new business lens. Some are saying they've learned how to accept failure. Some say they just got confidence. They say, I can do it now and I can make it big. Girls saying girls can do anything. So, it's also about confidence building before any soft skills. So I really cherish the BioE community here. And I really hope we're able to kind of scale this to the next level and somehow kind of put the course on the curriculum of schools that are still left behind. We're also lucky to get some media coverage back then. Dawn and Express Tribune, two of the leading publications in English, picked up their stories with their own twists, but it kind of gave us a lot of recognition, and it really helps build confidence within the university system as well, to see new courses get praise really gives confidence to those who are approving these courses and who are initially never kind of exposed to such courses which bring in like experiential sort of components where they expect 100% theory only. So this was the BioE experience. I'll quickly move on to precision medicine, the precision medicine lab, and PML hacks. So quickly, and I gave a talk on this, so I'm not going to spend time on PML. PML is the precision medicine lab. It's a federally funded pilot in cancer genomics. This is the lab that I lead, and it's an affiliate of the National Center for Big Data and Cloud Computing. And I'm happy to answer questions on any of these. We identify ourselves as interdisciplinary and translational. We're very biased towards prototypes, and we're very proud to be interdisciplinary. So we have doctors in the team, we have data scientists, and we have biologists, of course. Our primary affiliation is with universities, but we sit in a hospital setting, which is RMI, the largest tertiary care private hospital. It's about 550 beds and 110 plus consultants any given time, gives us a huge sort of expert pool to tap into and benefit from, and also kind of cook up studies with. So we have about 6 IRB approved studies underway with consultants from this pool, which is exciting. We feel PML is an exemplar of public-private because the universities are public and the funding is, the universities are private, the hospital is private, but the funding is public, and also academia industry consortia. We kind of personify that, and we kind of position ourselves as a great example. And we hope other such examples kind of hatch within the ecosystem, the higher education ecosystem that we have. We're young, pretty much 100% millennial, I could say, mission-driven, diverse, and multidisciplinary. And I'm personally extremely proud of the clinical investigators that we've been able to attract. And I'm always very keen on more to help us pick up new problems. So this is the expertise that we have in terms of, this is what we have available. So in terms of both expertise and the tools required, the guy standing in front of the MySeq machine here is Johar Saab, Dr. Johar. He was part of the Human Genome Project, and it's been an honor and pleasure to have him around and benefit from. And in the corner, it's our machine learning team, which was cracking at some histopathology images just before Christmas. This is our lab. We built it from scratch. Again, a painstaking process. Normally in North America, you would get a faculty position and move into a properly done floor at least. But we had to do everything from scratch. So from water and electricity and the type of wiring that you need, up to the procurement of equipment and freezers and everything. This is how the lab looked like back when it was established, 2018. It's pretty busier now, and probably, yeah, it's much busier now, but this was the picture back in 2018. This is a flavor of some of our interdisciplinary projects. So from DIY hardware to bioart to things more serious, such as lab on a chip experiments, cancer cell cultures, primary cell lines, machine learning, and image analyses, especially in a histopathology context. The glowing E. coli you see in the Petri dishes are synthetic biology experiments that have happened at the lab. And we also have a growing space biology and medicine subgroup within the lab. Young, really passionate people who are extremely excited about what NASA is doing, especially the gene lab data. And STAR is just the PI's program that I recently graduated from. We also have a super exciting wearable study underway, and I'm happy to share more, but just gives you a flavor of the types of data sets that we work with and also the type of wet lab that we're doing. And all of it is only possible because of these people. So young, uh, super talented, extremely passionate people from across the country. I can't stress more on that. We also have interns. So these are high school interns. You see Dawood and Haya there. Dawood's now in Imperial College. Haya is in New York University. So again, we are able to attract some of the finest talent in the country. And that's what we're trying to benefit from at PML Hacks now. And in the corner up there, you see our co-investigators, who we are very grateful to for sparing the time to invest in the research projects that we're doing. So now narrow down on the ecosystem that we have. So Precision Medicine Lab is not just about the research lab, the central research laboratory. It's also about what we're enabling around us. So that the two academic sort of centers, the Center for Genomic Sciences and the Joint Center for Bioeconomy, if we leave those out, the rest are all startups that are cooking up around the Precision Medicine Lab, mostly with founders from the Precision Medicine Lab. And it's exciting. And we had an amazing first round of hackathon, which led to most of these. Some of them have also raised some prototyping funds, I'd say, pre-seed perhaps, just to get their MVPs up and running. CalKitna is doing really well with their app, and they're in development stage now, past the UX designs, etc., and the data collection. But the problems they've picked and the way they're going about it is extremely exciting. So how did we stage this? We began, so remember we've already been through the Peshawar 2.0 journey. And when the Precision Medicine Lab was founded, when funding came from the federal government, we made sure we bring in that momentum into the lab, and also inspire some startup founders and not just stick to research. So what we did was we began with an internal 3-day hackathon. Internal, I say, was just for our 30 or so staff and students. This was meant to bring everyone on the same page, get them up to speed with what innovation is, what problem, how do you spot problems, how do you ideate solutions, how do you validate them, etc. And the idea was to stitch together the different pieces that we need to start cracking at our healthcare problems, beginning with phase 5 and expanding into other regions of the country. And the idea was to leverage the density not only for rapid prototyping, but also for testing those solutions. So you could literally, go down the floor, meet the urologist, speak to his patients, and then kind of bring back those insights into the lab and rapidly prototype again, go to the next level of your product. So this was key here. And this is what we saw, which was very inspiring. This was a startup weekend style. Labbers quickly through the format. It begins with an open mic session where people share the most pressing problems that they have on their mind, followed by a passionate discussion and a final voting. So once we narrow down on ideas, the labbers kind of assemble into teams, picking up their favorite from within the selected ideas. And then experts come in, do some design sprints, talk about the canvas over the next couple of days, which leads to presentations. But before that, they were also required to validate what they were talking about. So as I said, they could literally run down to any of the doctors, the 110 that we have, meet his nurse or a patient or their family, and bring back as much insight as possible. So this really takes their MVP to the next level. This was just to give you a feel of how it looked like. The internal hackathon, in the bottom right corner, you see them meeting someone in histopathology for feedback. In the top right corner, you see the voting happening, folks putting in their post-it notes to to choose the ideas. We had about 66 that were dumped there at the open mic session. And then they go and dig deep. In the middle one, Bilal's kind of going around different teams. Bilal's a co-founder at Peshawar 2.0. So now he knows how these graduates and these teammates are thinking and what the gaps could be. And it's then his job to kind of ask those piercing questions and make them think towards a better solution. So again, everything's kind of time constrained. There's a lot of buzz in the room. There's a lot of temperature as well. And then we invite, and it's my job then to invite all the stakeholders, people who are going to be supporting innovation around here and around us, to be able to hear out their pitches. So I really invite you guys to go to this YouTube link and check out the video that we cooked up after our first Hacks edition. The second edition, I'll wrap up with this, is going to be bigger and better. We hope to have a funnel. We're doing 1K innovation challenges. So you get on a podium, share your idea, and step down and let the judges pick top 10 ideas. And just for fun, we hand them a 1,000 rupee note. And this is our way of kind of pooling a diverse set of problem statements, but also talent. And we hope to kind of funnel in folks from across medical colleges and universities in KP. This is the spread that we have. Everyone kind of leaves with some goodies, and they're able to join our exclusive Facebook group to keep the buzz running. So far, we have about 500 ideas from just 10 sessions, and we're hoping to go to another 10 before we have our final hacks at the end of May this year. This is just to give you a flavor of the 1K challenge across different universities in KP. It's super exciting to meet these people and mobilize them and excite them and make them believe that they could really solve something themselves. And this makes me super excited about the second edition of our hackathon. So next steps, join us at PML Hacks 2 if you're around. We're open to help whichever way possible to help us scale our funnel across Pakistan. Funnel, I say, funnel of problem statements and students from across the country. Also, we're looking for mentors and experts in medtech in the area I mentioned here. Perhaps if you could spare some Zoom hours for us, that would be awesome. And the sponsors for cash prizes are really welcome. Cash because it really helps them leapfrog in terms of their MVP. And we kind of keep an eye on them, and we kind of help them plan how they spend whatever money. So just an example, two of the teams won about 350,000 rupees to test out their ideas. So they're kind of a step ahead from all the others who are still trying to push their products in different ways. We're also looking for individuals and companies who can throw problems at us, leverage our team, the creativity that we have, and the density we're surrounded by in terms of patients and consultants. So we'd love to try out solving your problems. And we're looking for partners in what we're referring to as a dedicated health tech incubator. We have our intelligence and our experience on the ground, but we'd love to partner with someone external to kind of help us catalyze the evolution happening on the ground. I'll stop there, and I'm really excited about the conversation. Thank you so much.
No, this is extremely exciting, Faisal. I mean, very interesting. I'm going to sort of start with a little bit of summary and then some action items. Those who have more questions, please continue to put it in your chat. The first things first, I will personally be contributing $500 to the cash prize. So after this, I will make sure that I contact you and how to send you that information. So always when there's an actionable item, we need to confirm that. And the way you're doing this is extremely important because there is a process in which there is a judge, there is a process in which the person who is receiving the gift is actually a deserving person. So I'm grateful that you have that outlined and processed out. So thank you so much for doing it. And that, it's important that everyone else, especially from APPNA, physicians in Pakistan, Pakistani physicians should contribute to these innovation challenges. It doesn't feed anyone. It actually basically means that we appreciate their efforts, and more importantly, it brings them significant confidence to continue pursuing their dreams. And this is how Uber was developed. This is how DoorDash was developed. This is literally how Careem was developed in Pakistan as well. So we need to continue honoring them and making sure that they have the support from us as we need. As far as the time commitment is concerned, as you asked, is there a place online that we can register ourselves in terms of interest that we have for working collaboration? Or is there like a communication platform like Discord that you are using where we can join and help and then donate some time?
So we're revamping our website for it's precisionmedicine.pk, and we're doing a fresh page for the second edition. But for now, emails are the primary, because internally we use Slack, but we don't have a platform for external conversations. So email would be the primary channel for now.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, maybe have sort of a public Discord server or something so that, we can sort of communicate, because there are a lot of people who continue to ask us about, biomedical design and everything that goes from there. Before I move forward, I will let Dr. Danish actually move forward with his questions and then go from there.
Thank you, Junaid. Thanks for moderating. An excellent talk, Faisal, as expected. As you can tell, I'm in a hotel. I'm actually attending the spring meeting for APPNA in Oklahoma. And I came in yesterday. I met a few hundred people. And it's amazing the amount of enthusiasm the APPNA members have for work in Pakistan. So wherever I go, I talk about, education and healthcare, entrepreneurship, initiatives, innovation. And there is so many people who are interested in helping out and joining the efforts. So I think, this will continue to grow and look much and much brighter. I have few points, Junaid, so with your permission, I'm going to take a few minutes here. I would also second Junaid's commitment. I commit to raising $2,000 from our group Tajdeed to offer as cash prizes for the PML Hackathon. Those will be unrestricted educational funds. So for your use as appropriate and as needed for the various projects. I think within APPNA Merit, in addition to promoting the entrepreneurship and innovation in Pakistan, we're trying to create this group called Tajdeed to help sponsor or invest in healthcare innovations in Pakistan. And what we are really looking for is what you're doing, Faisal, is that we want to give educational grants to proof of concept work. So if there's an idea on paper or in mind, and they want to show it physically as a proof of concept in a bare skeleton framework, we will be trying to create some, try to raise some funding to support those proof of concept ideas. And then we're also interested in doing pre-seed investment to create minimum viable product. So once you have a proof of concept and you want to bring it to an MVP and create a commercial plan, a business plan around it, and you need some bootstrap money or pre-seed money to do that under legal framework as an investment framework, we're also very interested in doing that. And we are creating kind of an healthcare innovators fund and a group of people that continues to grow to try to support those projects. Just to give you a sense, we have already invested more than $500,000 in projects in Pakistan, and we have already committed another $500,000 over the next couple of months to invest in a few more projects. So we were trying to bring some investments and grow these projects into commercial success. In the long run, the growth will come from commercial money, and government money can only seed you for so far. I also would love to have a collaborative podium presentation on merit webinars with your lab, and you can invite 3 to 6 of your teams who are doing different ideas to come and do 5 to 10 minutes of a presentation on what their research is. So it will give them an opportunity to get better representation and also get feedback on some of their ideas, and then we'll of course try to spread that information through our newsletter. I am interested in that mentoring that you mentioned. We're trying to create a mentoring network. So we're calling it a preferred provider network. And the goal is around this network is to bring in highly subspecialized experts into a single network that people from Pakistan can have access to for any questioning or mentoring or bringing to the project. But if you need one specific project supported or mentored, you can just always reach out to me and tell me that you need this kind of an expertise, and we can find someone relevant to that. I would also love to partner with you to do kind of a Shark Tank in APPNA winter meeting. As you know, APPNA members fly in every December, like we did last year. And we try to, there's 50 to 100 of us usually in Pakistan, and many top leadership in Pakistan come and attend those winter meetings. And just like we did a conference on biomedical devices and AI last year, we should do like a Shark Tank or a pitch competition or something like that. I would also love to invite you to our summer meeting here in US, if you are willing and able and interested to travel. Every year we've been doing a merit conference in summer. And last year and this year's theme will be healthcare innovation and entrepreneurship in Pakistan. And I would love to have you there. It will be July 13th to 17th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And I'll be happy to send you a formal invitation letter for your visa application. And I think we've talked about in the past that we should try to bring some of these courses for our physician audience and medical student audience on Merit Academy, so they have a sense on what is innovation in healthcare, and how can we educate them about machine learning, AI, increasing the role of nanoparticles. All of this, none of this is being taught to medical schools or junior physicians in Pakistan, and we need to create those courses. And coming through curriculum change, it will take decades or longer. So we should just offer them as an additional learning opportunities through platforms like what we've been building on Merit Academy. And then I have an interest in building a problem and solution database in healthcare by the experts here. We have been planning to do kind of a survey to general membership, over 2,000-3,000 audience in APPNA, to try to gather if someone have ideas that have been bothering them in their day-to-day practice, or something they've seen, or solution they've dreamed up of, or a problem that they would like to see a solution for. And we want to build that kind of a database on our platform, where people like you can come to and see, okay, what is something that doctors are asking for in terms of a solution to a particular problem, especially here where we kind of have some sense of, okay, what can be solved with the new technology, which may be not that common in Pakistan right now. So those were some of my comments. I will also write them down in an email and reach out to you. And thank you so much, Junaid, for your moderation. I appreciate it.
Again, thank you so much for excellent comments. And again, collaborate, especially from the home country, because believe it or not, I sit in digital health as a VP, and I've seen a lot of talent, and they just need a little bit of guidance. I'm going to just ask Dr. Sarwat Hussain to give his few comments as a panelist, and then we'll move towards the audience for Q&A.
Assalamu alaikum. Once again, continuing to be impressed by Dr. Faisal after meeting in winter in Rawalpindi Medical College, and mashallah, he has made leaps and bounds of progress since that time. And once again, it is extremely heartening to see the process that he's following, that that we are able to have disciplined enough people, the participants, to be part of such a huge process and a successful one. So I think, like Danish said about educating the medical college students, and other students, engineering students and others, I'd be happy and willing to produce a educational program for the artificial intelligence. As you know, this is part of my interest. The other, since our last meeting in winter, I've become interested in metaverse also. And I think, which is kind of cutting edge at this time, and I'd be happy to also, I've been learning about it and happy to, bring that to the forefront of our discussions and consciousness. So, and regarding the groups and the committees that Danish was talking about, obviously, please count me in on all of those, anything we can do for Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Dr. Hussain. There's a question from Dr. Uma Hayat. May I please feel free to ask now?
Thank you very much, Junaid, and thanks, Dr. Faisal. It's always a pleasure and excellent work you are doing. I will also contribute towards the prize you guys are giving to the people who compete in the new ideas. One thing I just want to share with you, I was at DCAT in New York, where companies across the world come and do the business deals. And one question I was asking, because I'm in pharmaceutical and DCAT is very much focused on the pharmaceutical. One question I was asking, I almost have like 40 to 50 meetings. In each of meetings, I raised this question with the opinion leaders. I said, we went to India because that was the cheap heaven, and there was a cheap labor, highly talented people. It's more than 1 billion population in terms of the population. And then their quality went up, and so was the cost. And then we decided to go to China, even though the language was not there, but talent was there. The population was more than 1 billion people. And same story, I mean, the cost is going up. And my question to them was, where would be the next new cheap heaven, and where would be this industry would be going? And I said, probably the Africa, maybe, yeah, there is a cheap labor, but there's no good university and not the talent which is needed for this kind of work like research and development. And same story, then I said, can we go to like Asia, like Philippines, Vietnam? Same story, maybe a cheap labor, but no good education. And then I invoked this idea. I said, look, Pakistan has more than 200 million people, and there are highly qualified people and a lot of good universities. And everybody said, yes, that would be the next cheap heaven. So I will say what you are doing, you're really positioning the people and the country when that time will come, and they will really reap the fruit. So congratulations on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No question, it was rather a comment.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Hayat, for supporting these innovative approaches. And we are very always grateful for your support in terms of advice as well. Those who don't know, Dr. Hayat has a massive background in pharmaceutical industry. And anytime I have a question, I go to him myself. We are approaching up to the hour. And I just want to make a few comments. Number one, entrepreneurship has a location advantage. So as he properly pointed out, that there is definitely vicinity towards industry partners, towards larger density populations and younger populations. And that's one of the reasons Austin, Texas is becoming one of the hubs for innovation here in Texas. Soft skills, again, as you mentioned, again, are extremely important. I'm actually going to develop with the APPNA Merit that I'm working on is how to develop presentation skills for, especially in, or how to make a pitch deck and present a pitch deck appropriately. So I'm going to be working independently on that as well. And we'll share with your students, hopefully, through the Merit Academy process as well. And again, communication and collaboration, I think you're in the prime position to create, platforms for communication via innovation in terms of Discord or Slack or whatever. I would reiterate everyone that please do join the Merit APPNA Discord group. I will personally be contributing and answering some of those questions. We will be bringing some partnerships and collaboration opportunities, because until and unless that we have, every time we have these Zoom meetings, is there someone doing this project? Is there someone doing this project? It's better that we have a central location where we can even hire talent from Pakistan more appropriately. And I believe that that would be the right place to start. And you have the Faisal, the charisma and the resources to pull this off. So I would greatly appreciate that we have sort of one innovation communication server in which there's biomedical, life sciences, artificial intelligence, data sciences, et cetera, and we can all collaborate, or even just, donate some money for seed money, pre-seed money, or what we call proof of concept study money, et cetera, if we like it, because sometimes you just need that push. Any other, I have only one last question. I mean, we are doing both. We are donating some and we are donating time. Is there any other resource level ask that we can help from American physicians' perspective? Compute time, storage needs, like what else can we do to help?
I'm really impressed by the generosity, and I'm really looking forward to working closely with you. It has to be strategic. So early on, you need some ideas to kind of evolve, right? You need to give time to the teams to gel. Once they're at a stage where you see some movement in a direction, that's where you could source some specialized, need compute power needs, other sort of specialty equipment, or access to certain data sets, etc. So what I talked about, the hackathon environment is extremely fluid. You just need to kind of find the best bets and bet on them. And my job is to kind of give them the office space, the access to the laboratory infrastructure, access to the ethical committee and how to shape up their IRB proposals. If they're past that stage, then you see they're surviving, and then you kind of go to the next level of support. So initially, in my experience, it's the pre-seed money and some mentorship to give them direction. So I'll certainly be tapping Danish Saab's help with the couple of startups which are going further in the stage, right? That's where we have specific asks. So that will be my short sort of reply to that. But I really am grateful for this opportunity. And I really invite you all to kind of check out our social media channels. Currently, life at PML is a bit warm these days, so you could check out what's happening in the lab. But I'm really looking forward to working with folks interested, and it's been a privilege to be here.
Dr. Hussain has a hand raised again, so I will let him speak before we...
Very quickly, I just wanted to request to the whole group to bring the educational part, which is the courses on whatever it needs to teach the people at the grounds to increase the grassroots movement of education at the, give it some priority so we can get it done until the winter meeting. Thank you.
No, Danish, do you have any more comments, or we are at the close? Again, everyone who attended, thank you so much for your time. We will have this recorded and available on YouTube for review again. Again, very grateful to our panelists and most importantly to our guest, Dr. Khan, and then hopefully see you soon again. And I think the first docket would be to have 3 of your best projects to present 20 minutes each in the next session. So we can plan that out sometime, maybe in May or June, and then we can go from there. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much for attending.
Khuda Hafiz.